This is the Somerville Mystic Housing Developments. This is where I have spent about 10 years of my life working with young people, teaching them how to create social documentaries. The methodology of the Mirror Project, which is the name of the project that I created 10 years ago, the Mirror, is basically the name, is the way I call the project because it's a reflection of our society, of the community, it's a reflection of the individual. Self-reflection is one of the main goals, where people, regular people who typically don't do video, begin to have access to cameras and to editing equipment, and we create videos that are much more in tune with what they do every day.
The Mirror Project.
It's about you.
It's about me.
It's being yourself.
It's breaking barriers.
It's building bridges.
It's where thoughts move freely.
Welcome to Dead Air Live. I'm Rachel of the Somerville Producers Group, and I'm also a member of the Mirror Project, which is the subject of tonight's show. First, I'd like to go around and introduce the people who are on the set with me, who are also involved in the Mirror Project. And could we start with Christian?
My name's Christian Willauer, and I'm with the Mirror Project doing publicity and grants.
My name is Rubens Jamal Lamont. I'm one of the producers of the Mirror Project.
And I'm Roberto Arevalo. I'm the person who created the work, the Mirror Project 10 years ago, actually here at the Somerville Community Access TV, and we became independent 2 years ago, so it's a pleasure to be here.
Great. So why don't we start by talking about well, the main goal of the Mirror Project, which, as you've said before, is to produce social documentaries. And I think it would be helpful to start out, by explaining what you mean by social documentary.
Yeah, to me, well, before I go into social documentary, I'd like to say that documentary is something that has enabled people to learn from each other constantly. We document each other constantly. Some of us have the opportunity to put out there what we see and think about others in a bigger way than the regular person. Many times when we look at the production of documentary, it's not just video, but it's also through writing, through poetry. You document emotions and you document experience. And I do feel that what is important to understand is that documentary making is in the hands of few people that come from certain sectors of society, or people who come from different sectors but yet are mostly using a formula that is very similar. And so moving on into what social documentary means for me, social documentary means a a way, is a way for people to be able to express themselves in a way that is enabling them to express themselves freely and to use technology in a way that enables them to accentuate what they feel and think instead of changing what they think and feel because of technology. As you can see, we have cameras here. We're not making the process of creating documentaries a myth. We want to demystify that and make sure that people who traditionally do not make documentary are able to do that. Just like Rubens Lamont, who is from the Somerville Mystic House and Developments, when he was very young, he began creating documentaries. We want not only people from low socioeconomic classes, but people from all different sectors of society to create documentaries in that manner, where they can do something that reflects more how they feel and how they are, without feeling that it has to be this incredible production where they have to become a reflection of technology. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys can elaborate a little bit on that.
Well, just picking up on what you said about reflection, I know that one of the the larger goals of the Mirror Project is to promote self-reflection. Maybe you or Rubens or Christian could talk a little bit about the value of self-reflection and how it's helped you with the work.
I think I'm gonna have to go first. Wow. I don't know. Self-reflection, you said?
Mm-hmm.
It's the Mirror Project's been good because a lot of times you do certain things and you say certain things and you don't know why you're saying it. When I joined the Mirror Project, I was just just another typical kid just hanging out, being a kid. And when I joined the Mirror Project, I just started, asking questions more and questioning certain things and traditions and stuff like that. And I think you always need to question things. So by joining the Mirror Project, I don't know, I just think I've grown more as an individual because no matter what I'm doing, or I always have to question it, am I always doing the right thing? And you got to know yourself, and the Mirror Project is just giving me that opportunity. Pretty much it.
That's great. And I think that's actually a good point to go into our next segment, which is about the early work at the Mystic Projects, which you were involved in. So why don't we look at that tape next?
Sing one of your songs like you always sing.
Oh, right. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling, Clementine. We were gone and lost forever. Oh, my darling, Clementine.
This right here is Leonardo DiCaprio. And then you turn back over here. Then there's another, there's all her dolls in her neck. And once you look over here, right here on top of the TV, you see two Barbie dolls. Those are hers too.
What is the difference between the Mirror Project and what you see on TV? What do you think?
Because the Mirror Project is real. We're living
Explain
it.
that.
It's real. It's a real neighborhood. It's not like in TV shows that you see where it's all rigged. They make beautiful, be this. You have to be beautiful like that. It's all planned out exactly what they want to show the viewers. But this is real life.
Maria, Jessica, and Carlito. This is the book of their birth certificate and all. Now this is Jessica's birth certificate. That's Carlito when he was a baby. That's when he was a baby, when he just came out the hospital, Social Security. Well, this is my son. When he was born, he was all right. He's cool. Carlito's chilling, He's just going through a stage right now that he's like feeling lonely. But, it's summertime now. He wants to get loose. But anyway, Carlito knows what's up. Sometimes he act like a little bandito, but that bandito means a little terror. So what's up, Carlito?
Nothing, I'm just sitting here waiting to go outside.
So the whole reason that I got involved with community or making media in the first place is that I have been for a long time really dissatisfied with the media that I see, especially television and the movies, and I didn't feel like my perspectives were really represented. So it pushed me to get involved so that I could make videos of my own and say whatever I felt like saying. So this is fun actually because right here in one of these windows I set up a display for Channel 98, and it was really fun because I had a TV and a video camera that was pointing out into the hallway so that when the kids walked by they could see themselves on the TV, and I was trying to encourage them to make, put their face on TV, to make TV about themselves, which is what I'm always trying to do ever since working with the Mirror Project. I really learned a lot about the value of self-reflection working there. It made me look at myself a lot working with Roberto because he's relentless about holding up the mirror to you and helping you to see who you really are. And
hard growing up, being a Haitian, black, Christian girl, because you have to deal, because sometimes I think if I didn't have to deal with any religion, in a way it'll make things easier, because you won't have to worry about certain stuff. You won't have to worry about certain morals. But the fact, I'm glad that I do, because I have morals, That's one thing. And it helps me not to be swearing. It helps me not to be doing a lot of, drugs. I'm not saying if you didn't have a religion, you would be doing drugs, but I'm saying it makes you aware that there is more to life than just material stuff, the spiritual stuff too. This kid I'm seeing right now, and he's Vietnamese, and I'm Haitian. And, and yet we don't see, each other's color. We see each other for who we are, you know what I'm saying? And that's great, because we always have fun together. We always, we enjoy each other's company. It's great, we're like best friends.
Most people are not valuing the experiences in the neighborhood, and I think that educators need to change their approaches, and educators need to be in tune with the population they work with.
I grew up in the project my whole life. I just live with my mother alone, and my father don't live with me. I have one brother. I lived in one room, my whole family. When we first moved here, we all lived in my grandmother's house. We all shared one room, one bed. That's what we had to do. But it was hard, but then we all. Oh man. But then we finally moved out. We got our own apartment in the other side of the project. I've been through some mad stuff. Me too. I've been through some mad stuff that they don't even know. All right, now. There's some of her pictures right here. Wait a minute. This is her art collection. I like this picture right here because it says think twice. It's telling you to think twice, because see, he's the one gang and he's another gang that have bandanas on, and he just shot him and then he dropped the gun, and now he realizes what he did is wrong. He took off his bandana and he's crying. So you gotta think twice about stuff like that, because I'm really into that stuff about stop the violence and stuff.
Mirror Project is something good in my life, It came to us back in 1992. We just, we met Roberto, and he told us about the Mirror Project. He asked us if we wanted to make a video. Yep, and we made a video, and I'm in the star of the garden.
Smells good.
Put it in front so you smell it.
Smell it. Here's a nice tomato. Nice and red and juicy to be eaten. Want some? Now it's a nice cucumber. Let me try break and taste it.
Show the inside of it.
See? Want some? Garlic. That's a light bulb garlic. You want some?
Yes, the Mirror Project's the best thing that ever happened to most of us, because we got to make videos. We got to see us on TV like we never thought we would, And we continue to make videos. You want some?
Hello, welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that segment of early work from the Mirror Project. As we've got one of the early producers here with us, I'm going to ask Rubens just to talk a little bit about his involvement. And first of all, how old were you when you started?
I think it was around 12 or 13. I want to say 11, but that's the age that comes to mind at this moment in time. I joined the Mirror Project only because my friends had joined the Mirror Project. I guess I was following the leader. And what happened is I wanted to hang out with my friends, and they kept having to go somewhere. So I was just curious what they were doing. And then they had these cameras, what have you. And I saw that they produced a video. It was called I'm the Man by Mark Celestin. And then I wanted to join the Mirror Project just to check it out. And I joined, and Roberto was talking about the Mirror Project, whatever. I was kind of skeptical because in our neighborhood, the project, Mr. Project, we call it the Ville. That's the street name. I was kind of skeptical because it was a white guy, or at least he looked white to me, coming into my neighborhood, telling me about all this stuff, and it just, I don't know, I thought he was just in it for an internship, because that's usually what happens in our neighborhood. What people outside the neighborhood come in and get the internship at Tufts or any local college nearby and then just leave. So I wasn't really, I didn't trust Roberto, but I gave him a chance. I went to the workshop, and at times I was serious, at times I was horsing around with my friend. But nevertheless, I was able to complete the workshop. Then I produced my first video. It was called, I believe it was Earworms the Way, or was it Being Me?
Being Me.
Being Me, on one of my friends, Michael Perry, who to this day we're still friends. And then I got another video produced, and it was called Earworms the Way, about my freshman year. And it was just cool. Mirror Project's been good to me because this freedom of expression and not having to, I don't know, prostitute myself, I call it, to what people want me to be or not to be. So I don't know, I've been able to go to different places, the MFA, all these other places. I've talked so much about the same thing that sometimes I just assume everybody knows everything about the Mirror Project. It doesn't really surprise me that we're here talking about the 10th year anniversary. I never saw the Mirror Project ever slowing down, unless Roberto wants to slow it down. So it's all good. It's been good.
Great.
So, you know, one of the things that I feel really proud about is to hear somebody like Rubens, who has picked up something that I picked up at a later stage in my life. I was going to school in New York City when I began to use a video camera, and I thought the importance of using the camera as a way to document my own life and to reflect. And I used to videotape people in the restaurant where I worked, at school, and different areas like that. And that helped me out. Those are the basis of the Mirror Project. And the reason why I began doing media was because I felt that there is not enough representation, that there is not enough people from the, especially from the low socioeconomic sectors of society creating video. There are plenty of people from upper classes doing that, and there are many people where it's problematic, thinking that what they see on the New York Times or on TV is true. And you know, we have to understand that it is constructed. And the Mirror Project is that, it's a dialogue. It's not just about Roberto or Rubens, it's the dialogue that we all have, or you here, or as we can see in this studio, we were shooting with the camera, and there is a TV here, there are pictures, and we just want to make sure that we are honest and begin to demystify the making of media by creating something that takes in consideration not only the intellect, but the emotion, and that we have fun at the same time. And so that's our contribution to society. We're not saying, no, you guys shouldn't do media out there. That's fine. But we need to bring another puzzle, so we have another piece of the puzzle, so we have a bigger vision, and maybe we can promote democracy and equality as a democratic country that we are. I think that this is something that is pretty exciting for me, that we've been able to create this work for 10 years, and we're going to have another segment, another Bolin.
Yeah, I think what's interesting, just to quickly follow up on what you said, all of the work that we saw previously was done by youth. The next set of videos that we're going to see were shot, I think, all by you, and a lot of international work as well as work from the United States. So why don't we take a look at this next tape?
Debilitar las posiciones de ellos y tratar de distorsionar la realidad salvadoreña. Para 1980 ocurre algo que todos los salvadoreños recordamos, el asesinato de Monseñor Romero, siempre acumulándose en contra de la guerra que se libra en contra del pueblo salvadoreño. El gobierno de los Estados Unidos para 1980 Yo recuerdo que empieza dando los primeros 5 millones de dólares para ese año en ayuda militar y subiendo como alrededor de unos 10 asesores militares para el 80. Para el 81 la ayuda militar, si mal no recuerdo, llega a los 250 millones de dólares y con alrededor de 50 soldados estadounidenses como asesores. Para 1982, 83, 84, los niveles de ayuda son alrededor de los 700 millones de dólares por año. Esto es, diríamos, el equivalente a estar gastando en apoyo militar para el gobierno salvadoreño, el equivalente de unos 2,5 millones de dólares por día. Todo esto sirviendo para el soporte de la dictadura militar, del ejército, de las clases dominantes en contra del pueblo salvadoreño. Después de 12 años de guerra en El Salvador, dejando atrás alrededor de 75.
Different social classes, different ethnic groups. This is the main goal of the Mirror Project, to just make sure that we capture the experiences of people and that everyday experiences is valued.
Fundamentalmente esta es una comunidad educativa, una comunidad donde pues, se le brinda al muchacho un espacio digno de socialización para que él se pueda desarrollar autónomamente. Nosotros como profesores simplemente cumplimos una función de orientadores, de compañeros de ellos, más que profesores, más que el profesor que se pone a dictar una cátedra, somos los compañeros que les ayudamos a descubrir las diferentes materias.
Este es mi grupo, que es conformado por Cristian, que es el de aseo y higiene, nuestro delegado de estudios Ernesto, nuestro delegado de deportes, que es Milton, nuestra delegada de estadística Yolima y comunicaciones Karen. Yo soy armonía y convivencia. Yo me encargo de que todo el grupo esté en silencio en horas académicas, reemplazo a nuestro delegado de estudios y también ayudo a que mis compañeros.
Yo me llamo Andrés Mauricio y yo empecé trabajando aquí porque un amigo a mí me dijo que aquí se podían limpiar vidrios o cuidar carros. Ellos son mis 3 amigos que los conocí hace poquito. Hoy una señora, yo le dije que si le cuidaba el carro y me hizo aburrir porque yo le dije que si no tenía por ahí algo que me regalara y me dijo, no hermano, usted es un pobre, váyase para su casa hermano, váyase para su casa, vaya báñese. Entonces a mí me dio tristeza porque me humillaron.
Well, what's special about the Mirror Project, not only does it document, our individual lives, but it's also like a field study for the past 10, 13 years. And would be great for sociologists to use, where you could study the effects, the causes and all those problems that create poverty, and just you could look at someone while they're 5, like Alyssa and them when they were doing it, and what problems that they have, you could compare their problems to even someone older than them, and all those people share the same problems.
Prácticamente en esta zona, ¿no? De que a las puertas del siglo XXI, cuando el hombre ya ha puesto los pies en la luna y todavía hay zonas del territorio colombiano que no tienen agua potable, incluso a orillas del río. O sea, pues, como le digo, a orillas del río Magdalena, y la gente se está muriendo de sed porque no tienen la disponibilidad de agua potable ni siquiera para la alimentación. Y están suministrando el agua potable de la alcantarilla más grande que tiene el país, que es el río Magdalena, porque todos los desechos orgánicos de los municipios, de todos los municipios ribereños descargan las aguas negras, las aguas hervidas, las descargan en el río Magdalena. Y el río Magdalena se descarga en el río Bogotá se descarga en el río Magdalena. Entonces, ¿qué está haciendo toda esta comunidad? Se está
One of the topics of conversation when I talk about the Mirror Project, I talk about dialogue, how there is always an interaction in everything that we do, and the videos that the teenagers create obviously are influenced by the way I think, but also the way I teach and the way the way I teach and the way I think and the way I look at life is very much influenced by the way the teenagers think and what I see around me. So it's always this constant dialogue.
I'm from Africa, the western part, a country called Liberia, and I've been in America for 3 years. My life in America was kind of different because I had to get adjusted to the system. For one fact, what I expect of America wasn't what I met. I came April 16 of 1990, and I always wanted to come to English high school for no reason why. I didn't know what English high school was like, but being the name, I chose English high school on my first high school pick, and I was able to get accepted. But looking at English high school from my point of view is education standard here is too low. For one fact is, in Africa we get a higher standard of education compared to English high school.
We're back. As you can see, we've got a really wide variety of material from the Mirror Project, and Christian was talking about a video from that compilation she'd seen which really touched her when she saw the entire thing. Maybe you could tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, I guess I like going to movies. I see a lot of movies, and I think I was at the Museum of Fine Arts or something like that, and I was watching some Mirror Project videos, and I think I saw the one of them shot in Colombia, and it was about these young kids who were working in recycling. They were picking up cardboard and earning their living that way, and it was clear they had a really difficult life supporting themselves, and it wasn't clear what was going on with their families, and I think Roberto made that video, and he's interviewing the young kids and asking them about their lives and what their goals are and kind of what they're thinking about. And then at one point he asks this one kid, he's about 12 years old, he says, what do you hope for? What do you wish for? And the kid just looks at him and he says, peace. And I think, I was just sitting in the audience and I saw that video, and it really impacted me that kid would be thinking not just about himself and not just about, his situation, but something so kind of basic, and also what that might mean for him, like what that might mean about his family or about the situation in Colombia or, violence in general. So I was just really inspired by that kid, and seeing that movie really inspired me. And I actually looked up the Mirror Project on the website, on the World Wide Web, and I found it. I found the website. It's www.mirrorproject.org, and then I contacted the Mirror Project, and I got involved doing publicity and writing grants, and because I wanted to support that kind of work. I feel like it has an impact, it's not just about teaching young people how to make videos. It's about getting kind of the ideas, the analysis, the realities of young people, and actually not just young people, but a lot of different people out there for people to see, people like me. And I think once you have that, once you kind of get a chance to hear different perspectives and learn more about kind of the society that we live in, I think we can understand each other better. And I think with that understanding, we can begin to work together and try to deal with some of the really serious issues that I think we're facing. And but I think it begins with dialogue. I think it begins with understanding, and that's kind of what the Mirror Project has meant to me, and that's why I wanted to get involved. And getting involved, I've seen how there's not that much support for this kind of thing, and to me that's sad because it's one of the most important things. And so I just invite people who are interested in media, who are interested in kind of developing understanding and solving problems, that this kind of project's important not just for young people who get to make the videos, but it's important for all of us who get to see the videos, and that kind of that's a possibility for transforming society on a lot of really deep levels.
Very well said. Just to pick up on a couple of things you said about seeing different perspectives and then just about, gathering support for this type of project. Maybe you could talk a little, Roberto, about exhibiting the work and how you try to put it out there and gather support.
Yeah, as Christian mentioned, I think one of the goals of the project is not only producing videos and working from the inside out, working within the community, which is a very enriching process. However, it's very difficult. Outreach into communities is very time consuming, and the efforts of reaching kids and connecting with them takes a very long time. It's not 1 or 2 years, but I've been doing it for 10 years, and it's very hard. Constantly you need to begin, you have to be active and flexible with the teenagers. So the reason why we put the work out there, because that's another aspect of educating people and educating ourselves, because when we see the videos out there in different venues, it's a way for us to reflect further and to contribute, so that it's not that we're here or we're there. It's not like the ghetto is people that are different from the people at Harvard or the people at MIT or the people from Western Mass are different from the ones in Somerville. I do feel that it's about time that in this year 2002, we begin to understand that it's about human beings, that it doesn't have to do anything about gender or ethnicity or nationality, but that we really need to begin thinking in a civilized manner. And that means we have to have a dialogue, and we have to find ways to use the resources that we have in a tangible way. So that's why we put the work out there. That's why we're doing this show, and an attempt to share our vision with you guys. And perhaps in the process we will be able to understand better what we do, and it's a contribution to Somerville, where we live, most of us here. So.
Great. Speaking of resources, the next segment you'll see is more recent work with digital video equipment and computer editing. Hope you enjoy it.
The Mirror Project is not only working with one social class. We have discovered that this methodology of creating videos in the neighborhood and taking in consideration the emotion and the simple things of life is working not only with kids from inner city, but adults and kids from more affluent social classes.
Hi, Kyle. Hey, Mayor. How you doing? I'm good. Come on in. All right, hold on. Gotta get this mic ready. All right. Hi. This is my house. This is my friend Mary. Mary Van Ogtrop. And let me tell you, she gets made fun of for that name. Put your mic on. So, should I show you around?
That's Shep. He's my boyfriend. I don't know. He has he's lots of tattoos.
This is my 4th tattoo. It's also a straight edge tattoo, which I am no longer. This one I actually went to a real tattoo shop for, and I sat in this cold metal chair for 3 hours while the guy was hacking away at my leg. It was awesome how it came out. This is my 5th tattoo. It's Sanskrit, which is supposedly the first language of the world. It's from India. It says, pure, unhindered, and strong. This is number 6. This is a lotus flower that my friend did for me in my living room, which is really cool. My parents were away. Don't tell them.
Probably one of the biggest things I took away from the Mirror Project was this style of documentary, which is really a dialogue between the person behind the camera and the person in front of the camera, and how important that relationship is.
And right there, if you turn your camera towards the mirror, this is something that we always do. We make sure that the person who is behind the camera is seen. There is no mystery. It's a person with a camera who is interested in finding new information or getting to know a person. And this kind of interaction is more or less what happens in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I remember I first met Roberto, what was this, 3, 4, 5 years ago? It was a while ago, and I was like maybe 10. And I saw him in the Mystic Learning Center, the old Mystic Learning Center. And he was talking to big kids about SCAT and the Mirror Project, and I was like, and I saw him and I was asking him what it is, and me and my friend Jasenia got into it, you know. At first it was just fun, just fooling around with the camera, going places, recording ourselves. Poor man lying in the street. Poor man having nowhere to sleep. Poor man on the rough, cold concrete. Poor man wishing for something to eat. Poor man dying for some warm heat. Poor man walking on 2 bare feet. Poor man knowing his whole life he was put down. Poor man, all I can do is look, wonder, and frown.
I look at this, I see a very shy, sweet man, very nice, shy person. Every summer we had to go see Gone with the Wind at the drive-in, and my mother told us the same story every year, that as a child growing up in Savannah, Georgia, in 1939, when Gone with the Wind premiered in Georgia, the blacks had to go up the backstairs of the movie theater in the fire escape and sit in the balcony while the white people sat downstairs in the front. And as you get older, you take that stuff in stride. And for some reason, my mother always told us that story every year. And like I said, she never said it was a good memory. She never said it was a bad memory, and that's the way I feel too. It's just a memory. I remember us as kids sitting on top of my father's old white Rambler at the drive-in. We would have our beach chairs and our blankets, and there we were every year watching Gone with the Wind.
What's important about this style and focusing on the emotions and emotional growth is the process of making the video. And I think a lot of times when people watch the videos, they're not part of that process, for one. So it's hard for them to appreciate that.
I'm sick and tired of what you've got to say. I'm sick and tired of you calling me all day. I'm sick and tired of you acting like a snob. Tell me again, did you ever find that job? You tell me that you want to lose a pound. We walk past a burger joint, you know where to be found. During the day, you call me honey. Then at night, all you want is my money. Being with you hasn't brought me joy. Word on the street say that you've been playing me like a toy. You're lying, gold digging, 1 vote short of a ballot. You think you could stop staring at my wallet. That's it.
Okay, Roberto, could you talk a little bit more about how the new technology has affected the project?
Well, as you can see, it's just so very beautiful. Right there we were using a nice microphone with a digital camera, the one that we have here, walking down the Mystic Housing as Rubens was reciting his poem. And so, yeah, new technology has helped us to increase the quality of the work, because I do feel that we have been trained with Super VHS cameras, heavy cameras, and the quality is not the best, but we never have stopped doing videos, just despite the fact that we don't have the equipment that we always wanted. We kept doing it, but now that we have digital technology, it's an incredible asset to us, because even though we don't have a lot of cameras, it helps us to work in the digital editing suite in a much better way, because we can edit faster, we can edit in a much better way, it's more flexible. The cameras also are a lot easier to use, And I think that the quality of the work, not just technically speaking, but the quality of the work, because we've been working with the teenagers for a long time, is something that all together in terms of content and technology together makes an incredible product that is something that you don't see every day. Is something that we find around the corner, but that many people don't look around the corner for something that is important. So we're valuing something that makes sense for anybody. So I think technology is something that is helping us in some ways, and every time people like us are beginning to have more access to it.
Great. And along with some new technology, you've also gained some new interns and new producers in recent times. We have one here with us now, Elena. I'll let you introduce yourself and talk about your role in the project.
My name is Elena, and I've been working with Roberto for the past several months. Specifically, we've been working on editing a documentary about understanding violence in our community, and it's actually a collaboration between the Mirror Project and the Attorney General's office. And hopefully it will create a dialogue between the different aspects of the people who are involved when violence occurs, between the people who are involved in the Attorney General's office, in the judicial system, in the police department, and the actual people who commit violent acts and are affected as family members. And from that, a dialogue will be created that will allow people to understand all different sides of it from a different perspective. And one of the things that we've been working on is using Final Cut Pro to edit the video, which I think has created a different technological side to it.
Excellent. And maybe at this point I could just mention what I've been doing with the project as well, because the next segment that we're going to see is a few of the works in progress that are being made with this new technology. Like Elena, I recently joined the Mirror Project and have been mostly working in the capacity of editor and a little bit of shooting. And I have to say it's been quite, I'm sure you guys would agree, it's been quite an interesting experience, both in a professional and a personal sense. Rubens, did you want to say anything about the poem that we saw at the end of the last segment?
Yeah, in fact, that poem was, I did it one day. It was it's funny because that poem, it happened at school because one of my friends, which I won't say his name, one of my friends, I guess he was talking to this female, and eventually with the characteristics that he would tell me that her habits, I asked him, it sounded like a gold digger because she would bring him to these places and never had money. And she would do the same thing to me. Well, try to pull the same thing on me. But he's more of a nice guy than I am. And then what happened is he got into an argument with her, and he stated the fact that she was a gold digger, and they just went at it. But he tried to be more of a gentleman about it. She was making a scene, and most people didn't think nothing of it because it happened at school, and they probably thought they were in a relationship arguing, which happens all the time on our campus. So no one thought nothing of it. So I got inspired, and she didn't have a job either. She kept telling us she was going to get a job, and I guess she just wanted us to lend her money like we were ATM machines. But after that argument, I was in the library as usual doing my homework, and then I just couldn't get it out of my head. It was funny to me, and I don't know, it just came to me, and I wrote it down, and most people like it.
And a way to get out frustration.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, the last group of work that we have, as I mentioned before, are a few of the works in progress in the Mirror Project. Let's look at those.
The power of the image is something that we can use to help people understand each other, to bring light, to promote dialogue, but also the power of the image can limit people because you can stereotype people. I do feel that we as citizens or civilized people need to help each other to create images that always highlight the dignity of people without having to hide the difficulties that people go through.
Actually, I was mistaken. Before we look at the works in progress, we wanted to talk about the photo component of the Mirror project, which is a very important aspect.
Which is what we're seeing right now. Is an addition to the video component. And as many of you maybe are not aware, but a media project requires many different type of work. So we document the neighborhoods and the people around the projects that we work with, and we also have a website. We also have to do writing. A media project requires an incredible amount of skills, and we are trying to do this with very limited resources, and we try to do the most with the least. As you can see in the photographs, all those young people, most of the young people are using big cameras, sometimes kind of bigger than they are. But it's something really important, and because of this methodology that I started at the Mystic Housing Projects, we've been able to go to Wilmington, Delaware. We've been able to provide material for people to understand society, and so we've been widely documented by the Boston Globe, by the local newspapers, by the Phoenix, and it's something that is important to us. I think that it is important for us to play an active role in I was just looking at the TV monitor, ladies and gentlemen. And so it is very important for us to play an active role in the different sectors of society and begin to be next to people who are producing media, because we're serious about what we do. We feel that there is a huge issue about value. What is value and what is not? Is it important for people to talk at the Mystic Housing Projects? Of course it's important. Is it important for people to talk? And it's important what they say at the Somerville Community Access TV? Of course it's important. Is it important what people talk at Harvard? Of course it's important. All of us are important, ladies and gentlemen. So taking that in consideration, think about where the resources go, who is valued, and who is respected in society. Do we respect ourselves when we put each other down, when we look down at people who are trying to do the best they can? Sometimes we don't. Everything begins with our own selves. That's what I have learned with the Mirror Project. When I talk about the Mirror Project, I'm talking about my own process, but I'm talking about the influence of other people's in my way of thinking. My philosophy emerges in situations like this, where I am influenced by the way people think and feel. And that's the beauty of it. That is a process like cooking. When you throw something in the pot and you begin to put the different ingredients and the flame begins to warm up all these ingredients, everything melts. And once you have that, you have understanding. It might sound cliche, hey, but you know, that's part of life. So that's, in essence, you know, all I want to say is that it is very important for us to understand that media is for the sake of people, and media that is socially responsible has to have that foundation. That is not for the sake of, we're cool, we're the so-called producers, or we are going to document these people who are savages or crazy, or these cute people. No. We are doing media to grow us as individuals, and we do media and go to certain people because we feel attraction for certain people. It's about self-development, not just for the maker, but the people who are in front of the camera. It's that very dialogue that promotes education and at the same time demystifies the making of media. And by putting it out there the way we're doing it here, we hope that we inspire each one of you out there to understand that we have to take the steps to be in tune with who we are and treat each other right, whether we do media or not, because communication is the key. So I hope I don't sound like a preacher, but it is important to understand that in this media saturated society, we need to come into the picture and begin to shape our lives in a responsible way. And that's what we're trying to do here.
Great, and let's look at the future of the Mirror Project now with the works that are currently in progress. Thanks.
Back then, well, right at the moment of that picture, my life was starting to become very stable. I was starting to become very stable. I was about 10 years old. I had just finished 5th grade. And I had already been living around, right off of, I lived on Magnolia Square at that time. So at the time, I was living there for like 4 or 5 years, and it was the first time that I was stably living somewhere for about 5 years. So, and this was like towards the end of those 5 years. So I was starting to feel more stable. I remember in that house we had I had my own room. I had a big clubhouse in the back. I had all types of stuff. Like my cousins used to come over every weekend, and we used to always play in the backyard, like play house. We used to go steal tomatoes and apples and all types of stuff.
Como mujer, aquí en los Estados Unidos hay una oportunidad de ser más independiente en cuanto al trabajo, en cuanto a la oportunidad de educación, la oportunidad de progresar como individuo, como mujer individual.
How is life in Vietnam for women?
Being over there is working hard. Most the women over there, after they got married, they always like household at home, like cooking and cleaning and take care of the kids.
En nuestros países un poco más es marginado. Generalmente el hombre es el que trabaja y la mujer puede tener su educación, va a la universidad, pero la mayoría de los casos es el hombre el que trabaja y trae el dinero a la casa y maneja todo, y la esposa se encarga de cuidar a sus hijos, que es algo muy bueno y que yo lo respeto porque estoy de acuerdo también.
Boys and girls should be treated equal, but they're also different, and people like to treat them different. I think it's not fair because we should be treated equal.
And those were some of the exciting works that are currently in progress with the Mirror Project. The last topic that we were going to talk about was presentations and how you've exhibited the work so far.
Currently, with the Mirror Project is on a national tour. We have been some of the places, just to mention a few of them, at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, at a conference called Relocating Ethnography. I was there with Fred Weisman and John Jackson from Harvard, who is an ethnographer. It was a pleasure to be there playing an active role and representing the social documentary field. And it was a very interesting conference. I also went to Texas and presented at the University of Texas, Austin, Texas. And around the area, I went to high schools and other colleges. I am ready to go to New York City to a Latino film festival to present some of the work from Colombia. And it is, I'm going to San Diego. I've been invited by the Latino Independent Producers National Conference that will take place in Texas this year. And I will be presenting. We've been chosen to speak about the Mirror Project and the importance of media among Latinos. That's another aspect that, for me is very important to point out, that as a Latino, I think that it's really important for Latinos to begin taking a more active role in producing media, and I feel proud that we're doing this, and that I'm not just working with Latinos, but all kinds of people. And so I think that's pretty much what we're doing. New places are calling us all the time, despite the fact that we don't have the resources. Most of the work that you saw is produced because we want to and because I am putting the time, but sometimes it's a desperate situation to do what you like. I hope that some of the people out there, if you do believe in this work, please go to the website and find in the section how you can help the Mirror Project, because I do feel that this is something that doesn't just contribute to the people who create the videos, but other people.
And just following up on the subject of presentations, I remember that you usually bring former producers or current producers with you to your presentations. That's how I met Rubens the first time. How did you feel about attending the presentation? It was at Northeastern, right?
I had no problem with it. I don't think I was doing anything anyways that day. Anytime I can go to these events, it doesn't bother me. I'm always interested, so Roberto has my cell phone number. He knows what to do.
See, that's what I like to listen, that people feel comfortable and the interpretation of how we go through experiences changes from person to person. You know, sometimes we go, wow, we went to the MFA, and some of the teenagers are like, yeah, I went to the MFA. Good, I made a video so that we all have different understanding of what we do, but what is important is that we do it. So, are we running out of time?
Well, excellent. I think we'd like to leave you with a poem that pretty much encapsulates the ideology of the Mirror Project. It was written by Melinda Duffy.
Yes.
Rubens, you told me she was 16?
16.
She was 16 or 17 when she was, she wrote it in 1 hour, actually. Most of the work of the Mirror Project is done quickly, but with all the mind and heart, and that represents the philosophy of the Mirror Project in a big way.
Definitely.
She's one of the inspirations of the Mirror Project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Take a look.
A reflection of me, just as simple as can be. Long brown hair and big brown eyes, but still you can't see what's inside. I look in the mirror, what do I feel? I feel there's a girl who knows the real deal. Learning the wrong games and playing the right games and teaching others so they do the same. I look in the mirror and what do I wonder? What will come up next trying to take me under? I look once and then I look twice, watching all my surroundings melt like ice. I look in the mirror as it gets deeper and deeper, coming on just like a creeper. The steps of my life get steeper and steeper. Reminiscing of times way back then, shooting some videos with my friends, telling of life and what's now behind, but still these thoughts stay in my mind. I look in the mirror and what has changed. It seems as if everything has rearranged. Best friends become strangers and some strangers become close, just like the butter is to my toast. It's like pieces of puzzles you put together, like the words from your heart you write in a letter. I get older and wiser as time goes on, but through it all I've got to stay strong. I look in the mirror and what do I want? I want the pain and fevers to just end and stop. I want to be happy like never before, and go places I've never been just to explore. I wish all the sorrow could quickly fade by, and when troubles occur, I wish I could fly. I look in the mirror and what do I see? I look in the mirror and I'm proud to be me.
Saludo de la mamá, que corazón te van a entregar. Hola, ¿qué tal? Hola, buenas, ¿cómo les va? Un saludo de la mamá, que corazón te van a entregar. Oye bien, somos de La Habana, como se goza aquí. Oye bien, la salsa cubana es nuestra comunicación.